super excited to be back for another year of ESGI's TeachCon. And this year I'm talking all things digital and creating little independent techies. So let's get started. This is Creating Independent Techies. And hi, I'm Keri Brown. I am from Alabama. And like I said earlier, I am a kindergarten teacher. This is my 14th year teaching, and recently I've been on medical leave and I just got back in the classroom. So this year is already crazy with everything that's been going on. I'm a teacher author over at EnchantedKindergarten.com. I love all things pink, anything related to technology, hence why I love talking about digital. Most yummy foods except for like lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, yeah, all that junk, and completely and utterly still swooning over the Backstreet Boys after tons of years. This is my home away from home. It actually doesn't look like this anymore, but it's pretty close, just different walls. But this is where I spend tons of my time testing out digital, failing at a lot of it, but my kids are so good every year, and I just love sharing what we do. All right, let's be friends. If you have any questions about anything that I talk about, just shoot me an email, Keri at enchantedkindergarten.com. That is with a D in garden and not, spelled the correct way. All my social media, you can find me at Enchanted Kindergarten on my website, Instagram, or Facebook. You can also send me messages there. If you have a question, just let me know and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, so what if you're thinking, but I know nothing about tech? How am I supposed to get these kids to be independent? It is totally okay because everything I'm going to tell you is super simple and it will work for the most non-tech person ever. Because there's so many people that say, I am not techie, I don't know anything about technology. And I get them to be techie, even if it's just a little bit, especially teaching them how to teach their students to be techie. Because your students will pick up so much faster than you think you can, even though you can do it too. All right, so let's go. Go into this with an open mind of I can do this, I can be a tech person, and it's going to be easy. All right, do you believe that? You should, because you can totally do this. My goal is that this is going to be doable for you and to show you ways of creating independence through technology with your students and making it easier than you thought it was. All right, so here's a few things I always have to tell myself every year. Do not introduce too much too soon. Sometimes I want to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, go, 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 especially this year because, I've been out. I was out for 6 weeks, and it's like we're so behind. I have so much for them to do, but I have to just do one thing at a time, which goes into go slow to go fast later. Because if I put too much on my kids, they're not going to master the basics of what I really need them to know. And if they don't master the basics in 2 months, 3 months, a month from now, when I'm trying to get them to do something that's a bit more complex, they will not be able to do it. So I don't like failing in that way by putting too much on them, putting too much on myself. And then when someone else walks in our room, it will look like chaos when we have technology out. And the kids are all bringing me iPads or devices or, saying something's not working. No, 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 no. So make sure to go slow to go fast later. That is a rule, I think, with just teaching in general anyway. Let them help each other. This is huge for me and something that took me a while to do, especially when I first started teaching. I felt like I had to do everything. I had to answer everything. I had to be in all the places. I had to touch everybody's paper. I had to do it all. And I was running myself ragged. And then I think in like one of my graduate classes, I heard something about the kids should be more tired than you are. If you're tired, you're doing all the work and they're not doing anything. And I was like, I am always tired, which I'm still tired, but I'm not as tired as I used to be because now I let the kids do more. This goes for tech as well. Something's broken, if something needs to be fixed, something's not working right, if someone needs something, if someone needs help, I let them help themselves. And then if they can't figure it out, and I kind of assess the situation from afar, then I step in. But it's nice for them to troubleshoot on their own and try to fix it and for them to get involved and work together. And most of the time, they figure out what the issue is unless it's an adult problem. And when it's an adult problem, like I said, I step in and fix it. But let them help each other, even if you're like chomping at the bits and you want to just jump in there and fix it right away. Don't do it. Don't. Because then they won't be so loud next time something needs to be fixed. They'll whisper and try to fix it themselves, and they don't bother you, which is usually the case because you're either teaching small group or you're doing something else while they're using devices, and you don't need to be bothered. So if they can figure it out, let them. And my last little tidbit that I have to remind myself, and I'm going to tell you, you don't have to do something amazing every day at school when it comes to technology. It doesn't have to be grand productions of what your students are producing. It can just be small things. As long as you have a goal on what they're working towards or what they're learning, you are doing a great job. Just remind yourself that every day that you're using technology, I'm doing a great job. My kids are working towards being independent and they will get there. So just remind yourself it doesn't need to be spectacular every single day. Now, of course, sometimes you can try to do something huge and spectacular, but don't do that to yourself every day. It can just be something simple. All right. So on our road to working toward independence, I thought there was a few things that I should share with you all. The first thing is my absolute favorite charging station. Now, I've had these for a while. Maybe, let's see. I want to say it's been about 9 or 8 years now. I was at a school that was one-to-one with iPads in K2 across the entire county, and they gave us no storage for them. And it was such a mess for me and a pain. And I wanted my kids to put back their own devices. Like, I did not like being in control of all of the devices. So I did a donor shoes project for these Belkin charging stations. Saved my life. One, because the cords were not tangled anymore. The kids could go and unplug their own devices and they could plug in their own devices. But if you have a class where you think they would break the cords, choose 1 or 2 students to do this for you. And so a couple of years, I've had somebody whose job was to plug in all of the devices. So at the end of the day, they would go over to it while we were like getting packed or whatever it was that we were doing at the end of the day. They would plug them all in. That way, I'm saved and my kids are being independent again. I don't have to do it. And so I created a quick and easy job. And then all I had to do was glance over to see whose device wasn't there. And then I could say, so-and-so, go put your device up. Especially if like you have a desk or they have cubbies or something and they stick them in their cubbies and they forget to go put them up. These are a game changer. This is what they look like with devices plugged in, and you can push those cords in further so they're not sticking out as far. But, my kids were plugging these in, so I wanted the cord to be a little longer just so they could, have wiggle room because they are 5 and 6. And, y'all, I just cannot say enough. how amazing this is. Get you some if you have devices. And the school I'm at now, because of COVID last year, we did end up getting one-to-one Chromebooks, and our principal bought these actual ones. So I have these for iPads now, and I have them for my Chromebooks, and they work great. And you know what's funny? I also plug in my headphones to these. We have wireless headphones in my classroom, and that's how I charge them. I just have a few sets. I'll go back actually. So like on the back of this, I've taken out some of the plugs, and I bought like double, we call it USB plug. So it has like two things on it. And so one is the iPad or the Chromebook or whatever it is. And then in another spot, I'll have the double, and I can plug in the headphones and an iPad at the same time. And it is great. So just a little random tidbit I didn't mean to say. And this is what I was doing before I had those. So if you don't have the funds to get it done, I pop some holes in the back of these, and the plug was coming through the inside. Again, it was for independence for my students because I did not want to plug in iPads every day. But the bad thing was I didn't have enough spaces for all of my iPads. As you can see, I had extra iPads on the top. So we were switching out iPads a lot, and that ended up being a teacher job. And I didn't really like that again. So that's how I came up with the charging stations, and we had enough for every iPad in our classroom. Something else to help create a little independence, and just talking about iPads still, is I make them keep up with their own device. And an easy way I do this, because stickers on the back come off a lot, especially when you have kids that like to peel them or just play with them. So the stickers weren't working. And what I started doing was at the very beginning of school, we would practice taking a picture. Just because we take pictures of so many things throughout the year and record video, I wanted them to see the difference between taking a picture and creating a video. And so the very first picture they would take, they would learn how to flip the camera around to themselves, because sometimes they will need to flip the camera around. So I needed them to learn how to do that. And then they just took a selfie, and that picture turned into the wallpaper on their iPad for the year. So if there's one on the floor, I could just easily tap it, or a kid could tap it, see whose picture was, and go give them that device. So easy. And it's also how I check if their devices are in the right spot. I can just go back to the charging station, press the buttons really quick, or when they plug them up, it pops up with their picture, and I can see if they put the right one in the right spot. So easy. And I'm probably going to keep saying that, but y'all, so easy. Now, as you are working toward being independent and creating independent techies, ask yourself a few questions. Who's going to put away the technology? The answer needs to be not you, like I've already told you. Who will plug technology? Not you. Where will it sit when they're not using it? The floor, the desk, the table, the counter. This is something that you have to make sure your students are held accountable for. You shouldn't be picking up devices. They should be in places they are not supposed to be, so they won't get stepped on. And so make sure you lay out all of the routines and procedures of having devices, and your life will be easier. Some more questions. When can it be used? Can they just go get an iPad when they want to? Can they just go get their Chromebook when they want to? Can they just go get on the computer when they want to? Lay that out, because some students they'll think, oh, this is my device. I can get on it when I want to, especially if you're one-to-one. And you need to just say, no, it's not your device. It's pretty much my device, or the school's device. And so you can get on it at these times. How many students will use the device? If you don't have a one-to-one and you're sharing, let that be something else that you tell them. Only 2 to a device, or 3 to a device. And if you're sharing, especially like if they're listening or they're playing a game together, and you need to have headphones on, you can use a splitting, the little cable, the splitter, and the students can just plug all their headphones into that one jack, and boom, you got 2 kids on the same iPad and they can both hear. What do I need to teach the first week of school? What do I need to teach the first month of school? Those are all questions that should be asked at the very beginning, which I know we're past the beginning of school now. But those are things you need to just kind of let go through your brain and decide, how can I create independence with my students by doing these things? A really easy way to create some independence where you're not finding apps for your students, the apps that you're going to be using frequently, or maybe like the app of the day or something like that, you could just move that app down to the very bottom of the screen. And things that I keep at the bottom are like Epic, SEESAW, our QR code reader, or if I've done like, I've created a website, but I make it look like it's an app and we use it a lot, I'll drag that down to the bottom too. And so I show my kids what the icon looks like, and then they know just what to click on immediately once they get their device. All right, let's talk center independence. Centers are probably my favorite with using devices. So over the years, I've done different rotations, and I will tell anybody this. I hate getting up during small groups or during center time or intervention, whatever it is I'm doing, and changing cards around. I just don't like doing it. To me, it's such a waste of time. And don't hate me if you love doing it and you think it doesn't take that much time. I just don't like it. So I started doing digital rotations and never turned back. So for my students, I put either their real picture or I put a little picture like this. And, I explain what the pictures on the side are so they know exactly where to go and what to do. So this was when I was teaching first grade one year. And it changed throughout the year as my kids learned to do different things and our needs changed for centers. I would adjust the pictures accordingly. And at the very top was where they were working on spelling words and working on building their words, because we had spelling words that year. And so I needed them to have time to practice their spelling words. The second picture with the little girl is reading, so they would go to read to self. The third one is word work. That was any of our word work games that were an option. They could grab any of those. And then last was writing. And we did writing every day. At the bottom is if they were coming to me. So if I don't have anybody at the bottom, I may just pull randomly, or I may have been testing a kid or something like that. And then I set this to a timer. And so my students would know, well, when the timer goes off, the next thing that comes up, because this is a PowerPoint, is a cleanup song. And so I technically never say clean up. The cleanup song says clean up. And they know that they need to be on the rug after the song plays twice. Now, of course, at the beginning of the year, this takes a little work, but they are so independent. They put all of their things away, and then the cleanup song goes away. Now, while the cleanup song is playing, I'm still working with my intervention group, or I'm still working with my small group, and I'm keeping that time and saving time of my teaching while everybody's cleaning up. Instead of sending my group away, I keep them and I keep teaching. And so that extra 3 to 4 minutes is needed while the class is getting cleaned up and ready to rotate. And then it rotates to a different one. And of course, this can look different. You don't have to do anything that I'm doing. I'm just sharing what I do. This is my one from this year. So same thing pretty much. But I started doing like a Wednesday group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, so I can keep up with it, because our schedule is so hectic. And sometimes I miss a group, so then I'll know which group I need to start with the next day. And then I'll start with that number. So pretty simple, because it just goes by number, but their pictures are in a different order. So on Monday, they don't do this same order of things that they do on Wednesday. I hope that makes sense. All the kids to the right, they come to the table with me. I just didn't have room to put them at the bottom on this one like I did the previous one. But same thing, word work is at the top. That's any of our games. We have Square Panda in the room. It goes with iPads. They have some little letters. If you've never heard of Square Panda, they work on letter building, sounds, writing words, rhymes. It's all literacy based, and they're all apps that come with Square Panda when you purchase the Square Panda. The computers is an option, or they could also be boom cards, Google Slides. It just depends on what we're working on that week, and if I have something for them that goes with our skill. And then I have work again, because we have so many options for work. I put it on there twice, so the kids can choose to go to something different if they go to work in the same day. And then at the very bottom, they do listening through Epic. I used to do like QR codes here, or the long time ago, like the CD players, tape players. Now we just use devices to quickly find us a book. And I love that it keeps track of what they've read, how many hours they've read. It's amazing. Epic is free. If you've never heard of the Epic app, highly, highly, highly recommend. Even if you are sharing devices and you only have a few, you could totally put one iPad out, stick in a splitter, a headphone splitter, like I said, and your students can listen to Epic at the same time. All right, I'm going to go kind of quickly because I'm short on time through these. So some other things I do during centers, and like I said, that'll be where the computer is like the Google Slides, Boom Cards, or SEESAW. So this is a Google Slides resource, and you can think about anything math or reading, a skill you're doing, science, social studies, it really doesn't matter, and create it in a Google Slides and have your students to complete it. I've even started adding audio to everything now, which makes my life so much easier, because you know how you'll tell your students how to do something and then they get over there and they don't remember. Well, now the directions are in there. All they have to do is hit the play button and they listen to the directions. Game changer. Same idea. This is Google Slides, except they are sorting by beginning sound. This is actually the very first Google Slides that I introduce to my classes every year when I'm ready for them to use Google Slides, because it teaches them how to tap and drag. And a lot of them don't have the fine motor skills to do that, so they get a lot of practice out of this one. And they also practice beginning sounds at the same time. And this is a great one to do with a friend, because at the beginning of the year, a lot of them come in and they don't know all of their sounds. So this helps to partner them up. Later in the year, we do some word building, things like this with CVC words or diagrams once we learn those. And all they have to do is build the word. And I love the Google Slides because the internet goes out or just something happens, we have to clean up. It saves automatically what they've been doing, and they can just pick up later. And they don't have to click save anywhere, which is awesome, because there's so many times my kids just click the off button and turn it off. And I'm like, who told you to do that? All right, so next up is SEESAW. And I'm really focusing on this right here. Like I told you, this is amazing. So with all of my SEESAW activities, I've been adding in audio. And so my kids do a lot of circling or writing with their finger, and it reads the directions for them. So this particular one, I think, gives a sound, and they have to match the sound up to what they heard. And I just click through really quickly, look at everybody's, and I can check to see who got it and who didn't. This was something I started last year when I was teaching remote, but it has been great to use in person as well. We've only done it a few times because we don't have enough iPads for everybody. So we've been sharing. But y'all, as I'm teaching calendar, I assign this on SEESAW, and my students are able to follow along. Now, I took this picture last year when I was doing this remote, but this is what it looks like for every month. And we go through a series of different math things that matches up to what I have in my room, like number of the day, the weather, how they're feeling that day. And they just move the things as we're moving in the room. I love it because all my students are engaged. They're being independent. And then I'm able to stand up and do it instead of me just talking at them. They're engaged and using this as well. This is what SEESAW looks like if you are not a SEESAW person, which I know many of you probably are, but your students are normally on the side right here. You got activities here. Parents are connected here. And if you have the paid version, you can see a lot more that goes with it. You can create your own activities. I've started putting a lot of my PDFs in here for my students to respond on and saving on paper. If it's something super simple like a half sheet and they just color something, I started putting that in here, and I can put the voice instructions. So if I put this as a center, they can do this. And then you have many options on what you want to do. You can upload a picture, a video, a file from Google Drive. You can take a picture, have them do a drawing, or you can do a drawing, add a note, do a video, do a link. And then your students have many options when they log in. I really love that they can record themselves. So if I need to see that they can do something, they will do it here, but then record themselves and explain their work. This is perfect for math. But it's also perfect for reading too, because they read things to me. Now, why SEESAW? There is parent interaction because the parents are actually connected. If they connect with you, they can see all of the work that you allow to be turned in. It serves as a digital portfolio, and I use it a lot when I need to go to meetings and things. I'll print off, pictures they've taken and things like that and say, hey, this is what they were doing at the beginning of the year. This is where we're at now, and then I can compare. It's very easy for little learners to use this, and there's a library with tons of activities. Even though I make most of my activities, sometimes I just don't have time. I go straight to the SEESAW library and find what I need. Something I just wanted to throw out there, because I am talking about Boom, SEESAW, and Google Slides. I actually started making monthly resources for kindergarten teachers because it was so hard to find some. So if you are interested, you can go to digitalmembers.co. It is a monthly addition to your stash of digital. I create 10 Google, 10 Boom, and 10 SEESAW every month, and you get those. All right. If you have those old Scholastic books with CDs, you can absolutely use those. What I did was I uploaded all of the CDs, and then I just add them to our iPads. So my students go in, find the title, click play, and they get that book and they can listen to it. So don't throw those away. Use them. These are just some pictures of my kids reading, and she decided she didn't want to record herself, which is fine. She recorded her bear. I also do QR codes so my kids can do self-checking. So once they finish their work, they scan and it pops up and shows them the answer. So if you want to make QR codes, you totally can. Just find what you need, put it on the cloud, open a QR code generator, save the code, and you can add that code to any document. Now, QR codes can be used for so many things. Listening centers, songs, directions, which I love using it for directions. Test cards, like using it for Math the Room or Write the Room. Checking their work, research, spelling words to take them to a website easily. That's also great, so you don't have to type in the address multiple times. They just scan the code, it takes them to them. Lifesaver. All right, and here are some other little ideas. Using PowerPoints, and these are pretty much self-check because of the sound. We do... Erase it. Next one. We do whole group PowerPoints like this. And once I teach my students how to do them whole group, I eventually put them in a small group and they learn how to just play it on an iPad or a device. And then they use their whiteboards to write with. So much fun. And it's no prep. Now, what you've been waiting for. Of course, I can't talk about digital without talking about saving time with ESGI. Now, I save so much time, and I've been talking about saving time already. But another way where I can fit all of this in is because I do my assessments on ESGI. So if you have mandatory things from your school, put them in ESGI. All of your reports are here. Your parent letters are here. And you've got it all done right there for you. If you want to sign up, just use the code Enchanted. That's mine. And you will fall in love just like I have. And if you are interested in Destination Digital, you can go to digitalmembers.co. And if you put in the code ESGI, you will save. All right. If y'all have any questions, let me know. I enjoyed you. Bye.